Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Tom. Joining me today is Jarrett, and you are online with Cool Sports Guy. Jarrett, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, I we're coming off my best week of picks, so it's pretty solid. A solid 12-4 for your boy.
Proud of you. I'm proud of you. And I'm not proud of myself because I tied with you. And, I think a tie with you is worse than losing to you. I don't know why, but I just feel like it is because that's usually how bad you are at picks. And you went 12-4. So did I. Of course, on different games, but hey, here we are. Um, so we're going to do week 16 picks and we're going to jump right into it. Are you ready?
We're ready as I ever will be. Yes.
All right, good luck, man. You're running out of room to catch up to me on picks for the year. There's only 3 more weeks left, so you better hope you're gonna go 16-0 this week. So we're gonna start with Thursday night football, and once again for our audience, we are recording this on Thursday, so no, we're not watching the game before we tell you who's gonna win. 49ers are gonna go to Tennessee and take on the Titans. Who do you got?
I honestly, I know this is the first game of the week, and I shouldn't be struggling on the first game. I kind of had a little bit of trouble picking this one. I think both teams on good days are like towards the top, and then it comes to talent level. But then they also are two of the most inconsistent teams in the league, and just have really bad games out of the blue. So I could not confidently pick either one of these teams, I don't think. In the end, I decided to settle on the Titans. I just think that they're overall a better team. I know they're also getting A.J. Brown back this week, which is a big addition. He's one of the better receivers in football. Again, I'm not confidently picking either of these teams just based on how inconsistent they are, but I'm going to give the slight edge to the Titans because I think overall they are the better team.
So I'm not confidently picking either team. Um, just like you said, I mean, they have their great days and then they have their terrible days. 49ers, for the most part, every single time I picked against them, they prove me wrong. Every single time I pick them, they still prove me wrong. So, it was kind of back and forth, just like you. I don't know who to pick, but I'm happy to announce that we already have our first disagreement. I actually went with the 49ers, which
Oh.
possibly means that the Titans are going to win the game now that I picked the 49ers to win the game. But, who cares? I think you're right. I think the Titans, from just in general, from a season standpoint, is slightly better team. But if you look at like the last 4 weeks compared to like the first 4 weeks, you know, it or even if you do 8-8, however you want to look at it, 7-7 here in week 16 now. The 49ers, I feel like gradually was getting better by the week, and the Titans are gradually losing more and more games we would like for them to see. Last week was pretty important. They lost to the Steelers. Now they are one game away from the Colts. The Colts are currently on fire. Just came off a really good win against New England, and the Colts are going to end up playing the Titans one more time. And the Colts already beat the Titans once. So I think Titans have a lot of pressure here. 49ers, even if they lose, I'm not saying there's no pressure on the 49ers. I think there's still a lot of pressure on the 49ers. But even if they lose, they're in a pretty okay position to where they can still potentially make the wild card. That being said, I think the game is very important to both of these teams. At the end of the day, I think I got 49ers winning 24-17.
I realized I don't think I said the actual score. I have it
Yeah, you didn't. I was waiting for that.
27-16 Titans winning. Just throwing that out there.
27 what?
To 16.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm glad we have our first disagreement. That's awesome. So we're gonna move on to Christmas, and the Cleveland Browns are gonna travel all the way to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. Didn't take too much thinking for me to pick this game. It was my whole thought process was what's the points I want to give to each team. I got 34-20 Packers winning. Not only do I think the Packers are going to win this week, I think there's a potential chance the Packers are going to win out. And I also think the Packers right now could be Super Bowl favorites. Not just from NFC, I mean to win everything. I don't think there's a single team that I can take right now to play against the Packers and not be worried the Packers won't beat them. The Buccaneers obviously was underdogs last year in the NFC Championship game. in Green Bay. And if Buccaneers get to the NFC Championship game against Green Bay, at this point, more than likely will be in Lambeau again. And the Bucs are nowhere near the same team they are, it seems like, especially with their injuries. And I feel like Packers may have caught a little bit of a break with that. Even though Ravens played well against their defense is still pretty solid. And right now in the NFC, Rams, Packers, I'm taking the Packers. Cardinals, Packers, I'm taking the Packers. Bucks, Packers, I'm taking the Packers. Cowboys, Packers, any given Sunday, I'm taking the Packers. So I think the Packers are arguably the best team in football right now. I got Packers winning 34-20, and Browns are crumbling, by the way.
What I want to add to this, again, I hate Green Bay. I will admit that they are debatably the best team in football right now. One thing I want to add, though, I'm losing a lot of confidence in their defense. Which, I mean, obviously, 30 points isn't even that much in today's NFL. But if you think about like the last 2 weeks, the Bears' offense, since Matt Nagy's been there, a total of 12 times have they put up 30 points on the board. And one of those was like last week, like week before last week when we played them. Not that it could have been a fluke. That it happens. Then they allow 30 points to the Baltimore Ravens with Tyler Huntley, and I'm not discrediting Tyler Huntley. I think he had a really good game, but that same Tyler Huntley has played other defenses and looked mediocre at best. I still think the Packers are a good team. One thing I will say, if they aren't going to the Super Bowl, I think what's going to hurt them, which might sound obvious given they have Aaron Rodgers on the offense, I think their defense is the one thing that's keeping them back from me saying that they're like an absolute powerhouse who can beat anyone. I think they could beat anyone, but I don't think it's very much guaranteed as you would think it would be, just because I don't have much confidence in the defense.
Yeah, and I get that, but also real quick on Tyler Huntley. I mean, he was put in, what was it, halfway through the game against the Browns where they were losing, I think it was like 24-3 or something. And he did have a pretty solid fourth quarter comeback. I mean, he didn't come back all the way, but he still had a really good game. And I think, and call me crazy here, but I think right now, if I were the Ravens this week, against the Bengals, I probably would continue to start Huntley. Even before Lamar Jackson went out with the foot injury, he was starting to look like crap. And that could be just a fluke. That could just be the season. He'll probably bounce back. I'm not saying Huntley's better than Lamar, but right now, the way both of those quarterbacks are playing, I don't know, man. Huntley scares me a lot more than Lamar scares me for some reason. So him against the Packers, I just think overall, like, he just did such a good job. And I don't think the Packers defense are top 10 or anything like that, but I do think the defense is good enough to give Aaron Rodgers a chance. And I think Aaron Rodgers and that offense is so good this year that I almost feel more confident in that Packers offense this year than I did last year for some reason. And also, I think Aaron Rodgers is up there running for MVP again, so he's playing great.
I will add, I'm a firm believer in the fact that offenses win games, but defenses win championships. And unless their defense, they can obviously turn it around. They have a talented group. They're just not playing up to their standards. Unless their defense turns it around, I wouldn't pick them as Super Bowl favorites just yet.
Well, I mean, you can say defenses win championship. Try saying that to the 2019 Chiefs and the 49ers. They had a heck of a defense.
One time. But also, so I think, again, I forget to say the final score. I have the Packers winning in 27-21.
Okay, fair enough. Closer game than I got. So moving on, we have the Indianapolis Colts going to be traveling to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. It's another Christmas game. It's on the 25th. It's a night game. I'll let you take this one. Who you got?
I feel like we might have a disagreement on this one. I know the obvious choice would be the Cardinals, given they're one of the better teams in football. But the Colts look unstoppable right now. I want to talk about Super Bowl favorites. I know they're the Colts up in that in that conversation. The Colts look really, really good. Their defense was insane last year. It's still really good this year. The offense took a step up. Carson Wentz is having an unbelievable season, even though it's kind of like slept on. And then not even to mention Jonathan Taylor, who I think if the MVP trophy was not just a quarterback award, I think Jonathan Taylor could very easily win it. And I think that the Colts are a very, very good team, and they're hitting their hot streak at the right moment. And I think that's going to continue. And I have the Colts winning 20-24.
So Jonathan Taylor should win the MVP award. Just throwing that out there. I think I agree with you. I think honestly, at this point, as we stand, it's between two players to me, and it's Jonathan Taylor and repeat for Aaron Rodgers. That being
Cooper
said,
up there too.
Cooper Cup. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Do we have our second disagreement in the first three games? No, we don't. I actually have the Colts win in this game too. Um, Listen, the Cardinals have been kind of on the down spiral. I call the Cardinals are going to lose against the Rams, but then I decided to obviously pick against the Lions, and boy, that did not go well for any of us. The Lions just like stomped all over them. One thing that I totally forgot when I was making that pick was, hey, you know who's played against this Cardinals team? Well, not the specific Cardinals team, but against Cardinals a couple of times. Jared Goff has played against Cardinals a few times. He's beaten Cardinals a few times too, and he's the Lions quarterback. So Cardinals just got stomped on. Third time's a charm. Can they potentially come back and win the game? Yes. Are they in a position where they really should come back and win the game? Yes. But Colts are also on fire right now, coming off a big win against the Patriots, and they're also on pace to potentially take the division against the Titans right now. So they're obviously going to give it all they got. I don't really have a very high scoring game. I got 27-25. I got a very close game. This game could potentially go either way, but I'm leaning more towards the Colts. So, no, we don't have a disagreement. But maybe we'll have a disagreement here because the Detroit Lions are going to travel to the biggest airport, Falcons. They're going to go to Atlanta and take on the Falcons. So the Lions are going to take on the Falcons. Not the greatest team. Nowhere near the greatest team. I'll let you take this one first. Who you got?
I honestly kind of wanted to pick the Lions in this one just based on the fact that they just, what a few weeks ago people thought was the best team in football. But at the same time, fluke games happen, and I don't see two of those back to back. I love Dan Campbell as a head coach, do not get me wrong, but they do not have a very talented roster. I don't even think the Falcons are a very good team, whatever. But I will give the Falcons a slight edge just based on the fact I don't think that the Lions can win back-to-back games. I also think Arthur Smith, of all of the coaching hires that happened this offseason, he was the one I was most wrong about. I think I slandered him a lot. I thought it was a bad hire. He's kind of made this offense overperform than what they were supposed to. I, again, don't think they're a great team by any means, or even I wouldn't even call them a good or average team. I'd say they're a bad team, but they're just not as bad as the Lions. So I have the Falcons winning this one 27-23, which also maybe Lions fans would want to lose this one because they already played themselves out of the number one pick because now the Jaguars have that. So, even they can't even lose right. So who knows?
Okay, so first of all, I think it's pretty disrespectful to say that the Lions had a fluke game and a win. It's one thing to say the Cardinals had a fluke game, but for you to say, oh yeah, Lions won, it was a fluke game. Like, no, give them the credit. They won the game. And I'm glad you're coming around on Arthur Smith because especially from the beginning of the season, I kept showing so much love to the Falcons, even though I kept being proved wrong half of the time. And you kept saying, Falcons aren't that great. They're still not that great, but I'm glad you're kind of slightly coming around on that a little bit. I have the same score you got, 27-23, but I actually gave it to the Lions, and I don't know why.
Okay.
I because of Dan Campbell, for some reason, I have like that slight sympathy as to this team, and I'm just like, man, I really hope you get another win. I just really hope you win.
Every time the Lions play, I like a part of me, they could play the Packers right now, and a part of me is like, you know what? I kind of want to give the Lions the win here. I don't know what it is. People always talk about the Cowboys being America's team. I think we need to throw that out the window. The Lions are now America's team. Yeah. Everyone has a soft spot for the Lions. No one can explain it. It's just how it is.
Yeah. And dude, I made so much fun of Dan Campbell from the beginning for the kneecaps comment, but they keep crawling back up and biting them, dude. It's happening. So I gotta give him credit. Um, all right, so we're gonna move on to Rams at Vikings. So they're gonna travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Rams are starting to look a lot better than they were a few weeks ago. Obviously, they beat the Cardinals, and then last week they came off another win. Who did they play? It was
So
like
who did the play?
yeah.
The Rams
Who did the
play?
Rams? Yeah, who did the Rams just play?
Oh my god, why am I forgetting? I feel
I
dumb. The Seahawks.
yeah,
They beat the Seahawks by 10.
Seahawks. That's right. That's right. And I
I
actually
could
picked
not
the
think of who
Seahawks
either.
too. I actually picked the Seahawks too. Man, I'm so disappointed in the Seahawks right now. But I'll get to that later. I actually picked the Seahawks to win. Obviously, they didn't win the game. Rams won the game. They are looking pretty hot. They're both, as of right now, Rams can potentially, especially if Cardinals lose this week to the Colts, and if Rams win, they will have the division win um, for the time being. And so obviously, Rams have something to play for. The good thing about Rams is even if they lose, there's a good potential chance they're not going to lose that wild card spot. Vikings, on the other hand, could potentially lose a wild card spot depending on their game. So I think this game is a bit more important to the Vikings. I gave the Vikings a slight edge because the Vikings have a habit of whenever we think they're not going to win, they just come and win. And then whenever we need them to win, they don't win. Whenever we don't really care for them to win, or when some other team has a very important game, the Vikings just come there. It's like, sucker, guess what? We won. And I think that's what's going to happen. So I have 31-27 Vikings winning this game.
Are you just purposely like disagreeing on every pick this week? Are you wanting me to come back? One of us is going to have a really good
Did
week.
you really
One of us is
pick the
gonna have a really
Vikings?
bad week. No, you just said you picked Vikings.
Oh, yeah. Oh, are you? Oh. Yeah, I mean, I got to give you a chance.
Okay. Listen, I know the Rams very disgusting little section of the season, but they are turning it around. And I want to point out that my boy Cooper Kupp is saving me in fantasy football once again.
Same.
Last
And
week,
I
purely
listen.
won based off Cooper Kupp's big game.
And I hope the 3 touchdowns the Rams get is all to Cooper Kupp. I do.
I think the Vikings are not a very good team. Even though they have a much better record than the Bears, I still feel like they're on par with the Bears. Like it's not like a big mismatch. Now, if you want to put the Rams in there, the Rams are a bajillion times better than the Bears. I know I'm comparing this to the Bears like it matters, but I just think that the Rams are a better team. I think that the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, I'm giving him his credit, is debatably the best receiver in football. Outstanding. But I will say he did kind of get shut down by a 6th-round rookie who was on the practice squad up until this game, and Thomas Graham Jr., who shout out had an amazing game, even though the Bears sucked the entire game. Now he gets to go against Jalen Ramsey, which is kind of a step up. I think that the Vikings can maybe make it close, but I do see the Rams winning this one 31-20.
Wow. Okay. That's 11-point game, Jared. I don't know if that's much. That's very close. But hey, look at that. Our second disagreement, and I knew I'm betting against the odds here when I picked the Vikings, so we'll see what happens.
Who knows? We'll
Next
get the
up,
upset.
we got the game of the week. Although I like your definition of the game better. We have the garbage bowl.
Garbage bowl, toilet bowl, whatever you want to call it. Not
the garbage bowl. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to fly all the way to New York for a game that nobody gives a crap about to take on the Jets. Doesn't matter who wins, doesn't matter who ties, doesn't matter who loses, nobody's going anywhere. And that's the case. So, I think I have a very interesting score on this one, so I'm going to let you take this. Who you got?
I think that no one is going to watch this game. I don't even think Jaguars or Jets fans are going to watch this game. I think they're going to pick the other games at that time over this. It's not going to be a good game. It's not going to be a pretty game. I will say that the team I picked is the Jets, and that is specifically only reason is because I think their coaching is that much better. I think Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence, at least this season, have been pretty equal. I do think Trevor Lawrence is a lot better of a quarterback. But this season, they've been pretty equal. But I think that Robert Saleh is a lot better of a coach than Darren Bevel, who's the interim head coach for the Jaguars. which I feel bad because I remember his name, but I still don't remember the Raiders head coach name off the top of my head. But we don't need to dive into that. I think the Jets have better coaching. Whether it be that much better coaching, I don't know. I have the Jets winning 17-14.
17-14?
Yeah, I'm predicting a whole lot of turnovers.
So I'm predicting a whole lot of turnovers too. And I also have a 3-point game. But there's two things. One, we have another disagreement. I actually have, and it's for the simple fact that I think I have a little bit more trust in Lawrence than I do in Zach Wilson. And because of the whole lot of turnovers that's going to happen in this game, and a whole lot of quarterbacks not knowing what the heck or where to throw the ball, I have Jacksonville winning by 3 points on a 6-3 game.
I could very well see that.
You know when the last time I saw a 6-3 game was?
What, like 20 years ago?
No, it was actually, I want to say maybe 4 years ago, and it was the Seahawks versus Cardinals. And I'm pretty sure that game ended 6-3. And you know what happened in that game for it to end 6-3, Jared? That game in overtime. I'm pretty sure, if I remember it correctly, that game was like 6-3 and the game in overtime, and it was pathetic to watch.
I feel like I remember this game.
Yeah, it did happen.
I mean, given 4 years ago, that's a long time, but I feel like I remember that game happening. I mean, I feel like the Cardinals and Seahawks never score when they play against each other, but yeah, I think I remember this. I think that game was at least a lot prettier than this one will be. I think this one will literally be maybe a turnover every drive. It'll probably be more turnovers than punts.
That's why I got 6-3. I think the only way I see them scoring like the 6 and the 3 points is like a muffed punt, and then like you recover it on like the 20-yard line, and then like you can't get into the end zone, so they have to kick a field goal. And I think that's gonna happen twice to Jaguars and once to the Jets. God, I'm being so disrespectful to these teams right now, and I love it. We're gonna move on before I keep talking crap. What?
I don't know. I feel like it's weird that I'm talking this much crap coming from a Bears fan because we also suck. But I think I can at least say we don't suck that bad. I think we're slightly better of a team than either.
These two teams can get together, take their best players and their best coaches, put it together to make one team, and I still don't think they're going to beat the Bears. You're welcome. That's the biggest compliment I've ever given the Bears. You're welcome.
Bear day.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna have another New York team that's gonna leave New York because the Jets are gonna use their stadium. They're gonna travel all the way to Philadelphia to take on their division rival, the Eagles. Not much to say about this game. One team sucks. One team's currently holding a wild card spot, and they're gonna do everything they can to keep that wild card spot. I got the Eagles winning this game 27-16. I think the Giants will keep it a little competitive, at least the Giants defense. I think Daniel Jones is one of the very few quarterbacks in this league where I have like absolutely zero trust. Like I can go out there and find someone who can throw a ball okay, and I'd be like, I think this guy will do better than Daniel Jones. Again, I know I'm being disrespectful, but
I'm gonna add Daniel Jones isn't playing. He's out for the year. They put him on IR with his
I forgot about that. I just immediately think of Daniel Jones whenever I think of the Giants.
You got Mike Glennon, who isn't much of an upgrade either. So.
Oh crap! I gotta. Okay, wait. Let me edit my score from 27-16. I have 27-17 Eagles winning.
Okay. I also don't think there's much to say about this game. Mike Glennon, not a good quarterback, believe me. I watched him play for the Bears for 3 games, I think, before he lost his job to the rookie Mitch Trubisky. I'm kind of high on the Eagles. I don't know why. I think that I don't have that much confidence in that. And Jalen Hurts is a passer. I think he's good enough to win games, though, and I think their defense, their pass rush especially, is pretty good. And then Devontae Smith, I know he hasn't had a huge season like Jamar Chase or anything. I am a really big fan of his, and I think he's going to have a great career. I think the Giants kind of suck, but again, it's a divisional game, so I have the Eagles barely winning this one with 24-17.
Ah, fair enough. Okay, so I just gave him up another field goal on top of that. So next up, this was probably the toughest decision for me. We had the Buffalo Bills traveling to New England to take on the Patriots. 2 weeks ago, they played the Patriots. They lost. They were at home. It was windy. It was cold. It was nasty weather. That's when Patriots ran the ball. What is it, like 46 times, and they threw the ball 3 times. Um, I'm gonna let you take this one. I know who I got. It was the toughest decision. So I want to know what your thoughts
I
are.
think I think with all of the weeks we've been doing picks, I honestly think this was the hardest game for me to pick. I it
Mhm.
I think it could very well go either way. The Patriots did win last time, but you could also add like the fact that with the weather conditions it was a bit different because I think that the Patriots are much better at running the ball than the Bills are. The Bills can rely on their passing game. I gave the Bills the win in this one. I don't know why. I don't really have a great reasoning. I think it'll be either way. I think these are two very evenly matched teams. I think they're two really greatly coached teams, very talented. I think this is going to go on a game of just whoever gets luckier is who's going to be the team to win. In the end, I picked the Bills winning 31-30 because I think it's going to be relatively high scoring. Uh, and I put it as a 1 point game just because I wanted to be as close as possible because I could not. I had so much trouble picking a winner in this one that I barely picked the Bills.
Fair enough. So we have our next disagreement,
That's weird.
and here's the funny thing about this, because in any way, the more I think about this game, because I put a lot of thought in this game, the more I thought about this game, the more my thought kept telling me to pick the Bills each time. Even if you look at the last time they played 2 weeks ago, I feel like overall the Bills, if one or two more plays, especially offensive plays, would have went their way, especially those throws to the end zone that was dropped passes, Bills would have won. Like, the Bills had the game, they just couldn't finish it. And I do think the Bills are, they're very talented. They can't run the ball. You're right, but Josh Allen's, whenever they do QB runs, it works, and it works. And in this, stage with Bill secondary, I feel like Patriots are gonna have to run the ball just like they did last time. Except the difference is here, Bills can throw it back, and Bills are actually pretty good at the passing game. So all of those told me to pick the Bills. That being said, the Patriots came off of a bye, had a nasty game, got their teeth kicked in through the first 3 quarters of the game, started to kind of bounce back and come back. They couldn't quite come back all the way. And then Jonathan Taylor had that long run to just put the game away, which was just like a nail in the coffin. It was an embarrassing loss. And much like Tom Brady, I don't want to bet against Bill Belichick after a bad loss. It's very hard for me
That
to
is
do.
also a fair statement.
And they're playing at home, and they're playing for the potential chance of making the playoffs. And I said this to Jose when we were doing the show yesterday. Bills are currently holding the last place for the wild card spot. So this game is extremely important to both of these things. And whoever wins this, if Bills win this game, they will be tied against the Patriots in the division matchup. But Patriots have already lost to the Dolphins once, which means the Bills will hold the division for the time being. Barn, we don't know, what's going to happen with the next 2 games, but the next 2 games for both of these teams, I forgot exactly who they play, but it's like Jacksonville or somebody else. So I think they're going to win it out. So this is the most important game for both of these teams. And when it comes to a game like this, when everything's on the line, even though I think, one, I don't necessarily pick Josh Allen in clutch times, but I do think Josh Allen is better than Mac Jones. Okay, that's like right here. But the difference is I think Bill Belichick is better than Sean McDermott. And therefore, I had to pick the Patriots to win the game 27-25. Could be very wrong, but
I think this is probably going to be a really close game. I think I could very well see either of us being right on this one. I think they're
yeah,
two basically as evenly matched as you can get.
pretty much. Um, so next up, we have another division game. The Ravens are going to travel all the way to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. I actually went with the Bengals in this game. Last time these two teams played in Week 7, it was 41-17. And again, I hate to be this guy, but it looks like Huntley might be the one playing. And if Huntley plays, they have I feel like, slightly better chance the way he's playing right now. But even with that, I gave the Ravens another touchdown on top of that. I took away a touchdown from the Bengals compared to the last game. 34-24. I got the Bengals winning it. Bengals currently holding the division lead, and they're going to do everything they can to hold on to that division lead. Joe Burrow's playing so good right now, or at least, comparatively, it's the second year. And I think I'm going to show my faith in the kid. 34-24.
Also have a lot of faith in Joe Burrow. I think he's had a very underrated season. He's been really good. Honestly, you could consider him a Pro Bowl snub. I know we're probably not going. I'm not going to delve into the Pro Bowl that much. It doesn't really matter. But I get a respect thing. Burrow probably should have been in there. I will say I have it as a really close game. I think the Bengals, are the better team. And even I have more confidence in Lamar Jackson than you do, and I have a lot less probably in Tyler Huntley. But with that being said, I have the Bengals winning 27-24. I think that the Ravens, honestly, injuries have killed their season, and the Bengals. My only problem, the only reason I didn't have them scoring more points or it being less of a close game is simply Bengals are one of those teams like the Titans or Niners who are just really inconsistent, and so I had trouble making it any more of a blowout than that. But I did have the Bengals winning it.
My issue with Lamar Jackson isn't that I have no trust in him. It's just that even the season where they went 14-2 and he won MVP, he didn't show up in the postseason. They just didn't. And each time, no matter how great he plays, until he proved to me, and I don't know he's only been in the league for a couple of years, but you look at the young QBs that are coming out, they come out prepared. I mean, you look at the way Patrick Mahomes plays, and people were comparing Lamar Jackson to Patrick Mahomes from the get-go. And maybe the expectation was set a little too high by the media, and maybe that's why I don't have too much trust in him. But on a big spot game, I really have a hard time saying Lamar Jackson's going to pull this game up. I feel like there's at least 10 quarterbacks in the league in a big spot game that'll take over Lamar Jackson. So it's not like I have more faith in Taylor or in Huntley, but it's right now the way Lamar Jackson was playing the last couple of weeks versus how Huntley's playing with that team the last 2 weeks. Huntley is doing a better job. Do I think it's going to last? Probably not. Do I think Lamar Jackson can potentially come back and be a better player and be good in big moments? Sure, I can. But until he proves that, I have a hard time picking him.
I can agree with that. I think the big knock on Lamar Jackson's career as a whole so far has been his postseason play.
Yeah. Either way, so we have that agreement there on the Bengals game. We might have another disagreement here. The Chargers are traveling all the way to Houston to take on the Texans. You got 10 seconds to make your pick. Go.
There's nothing really to talk about. This is going to be a blowout. Chargers are winning this one 35-13. It's a better team. Their coach. That's it. I got nothing. I'm sorry if Texans fans are watching this and want more of an in-depth thing. I don't have much to say. They're having a bad year.
I think the Texans fan deserves some in-depth, and I don't think it's going to be a 35-13 blowout game. I got the Chargers winning at 31-13. And Dude, listen, here's your in-depth for you. Texans suck. Okay, you don't have a good quarterback. You don't have anything that's good right now. Okay, let's just face reality. That's the reality. You have one potential great player that's sitting on your bench right now, and that's pretty much it. That's Deshaun Watson. He's not going to play, and the rest of your team is absolute trash. Can you turn it around? Sure, maybe one day you will. But as of right now, I have zero faith in the Texans to win this game. 31-13, I got Chargers winning. We're just going to continue to move Next up, we have another division rival. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to travel to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Who do you got?
Again, I don't feel like there's much to talk about. I was kind of on the Panthers bandwagon most of this year, and I got proven wrong so many times. Now they're playing the Bucks, who I think I said a few weeks ago I probably wouldn't bet against them again for the rest of the season. And I'm going to stick with that. I think the Bucks are going to win this one. I think that they're going to win it pretty handedly. I think they're a better team. Brady does not lose back-to-back games very often, and he lost last game in a very ugly fashion. And I know he lost Godwin for the rest of the season. I know, I don't think Mike Evans is playing. Fournette's not playing. A lot of injuries.
They just signed Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, you're desperate when Le'Veon Bell's on your roster. But
yeah, dude, that's
one thing I will say about Tom Brady, and the reason I trust them to win this game more than I would say most quarterbacks, the difference with Tom Brady and a lot of other quarterbacks is he makes his receivers better than they are. Because there's a lot of quarterbacks who complain oh, I don't have the weapons, blah, 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 blah. Tom Brady can make his receivers a lot better than they seem. And so I have plenty of confidence in him doing the same. I have them winning this one 27-17.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that about the receiver part is because after Chris Hogan left New England, how many times did you hear his name? After Danny
Amendola, professional lacrosse player now.
He did, but he still stayed in the league for a year or two afterwards, and then he left. But you never heard his name after Danny Amendola left New England. He's with Houston right now. Did you even know that?
I did know that, but that's because I play a lot of Madden, so we don't need to delve into that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And some of these players, when Brady was in New England and playing with these people, and I would be like, what do you mean Amendola isn't that good? What do you mean Hogan isn't that good? They're killing it out there, and then they go to these other random teams and it's just like they're irrelevant. And you're right. I do think he makes them look a lot better. Also, you're right. Brady doesn't really necessarily ever lose back-to-back games, especially in games where he was embarrassed. And this is one of the ones he's been embarrassed the most. And I told Jose this. Suckup missed a field goal, and if Suckup wouldn't have missed a field goal, the Buccaneers score would have been 3 points, just like last year. The only difference is Drew Brees wasn't there to put up 30-some points. It was, the non-quarterback over there to put up 9 points. And, Taysom. And I think that was the only difference between this game. And as much as it is an embarrassing loss, I don't see anything different from last year. In this game particularly, I'm more worried for the Bucks moving forward, considering they're my Super Bowl picks. Now that you don't have Godwin, who's like Brady's favorite target, that Mike Evans is going to be out for potentially a week, hopefully less than 2. Leonard Fournette, I think maybe he'll come back for the playoffs. Good news for the Bucks is if they win one more game, they lock up the division. So they just got to win 1 out of the next 3 games, and they'll lock up the division. It doesn't matter what their division rival scores are going to be. Also, another good news is the next 3 games are going to be really easy. So it's just a matter of getting into the playoffs. Can Brady help develop all these others? But the defense looked like trash to me, honestly. So, I'm going on a Bucks rant here. But listen, at the end of the day, Panthers absolutely suck. I have the Bucks winning 27-13 in this game. Cam Newton actually is 2-0 against Tom Brady, but then I also saw today that Cam Newton apparently is not going to start this game. It's going to be Bradford. So not Bradford. Oh my God. Why did I just say Bradford? Darnold. Yes, Darnold's going to start this game.
Damn, Bradford hasn't been in the league in a minute.
I know.
Forgot about it.
Yeah.
From what I understood is I saw that they're both going to play, kind of like how they were doing with Cam and PJ Walker, which I think is a terrible idea. Because there's the whole quote, if you have 2 quarterbacks, it means you have none.
Yeah.
Or however it's phrased. I think I don't agree with the 2 quarterback system.
So 27-13 is what I got. I got the Bucks winning it. I think they'll win out the rest of the season, but I do think the postseason looks real scary for them right now. We are going to move to your favorite team. The Bears are going to travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Who you got in this game?
You don't even have to ask me who I got in this game. Listen. I will say Monday night against the Vikings was probably the most frustrating game I've ever had, like in a while as a Bears fan. Even more so than like the Steelers with the bad calls, or the Ravens where we just played horribly till the end and got the lead and then immediately lost it. That game was so frustrating. You don't like I was in such a bad mood that like I pissed my girlfriend off because I was being like mean to her over it. I was pissed. And I don't know if you remember this, but so our
Did you
offensive
did you did
coordinator,
you throw a tablet?
I
It's a
didn't
very
throw
important
anything.
question.
I didn't pull the Tom Brady, no. But I was so salty over that game. Which our offensive coordinator and our special teams coordinator were out with COVID. Our offensive coordinator is usually the one who calls plays, and he has not done a good job, but he's done a mediocre job. It's at least, you know, something. We don't look horrible. I don't know if you watched the game. Matt Nagy going into it, he's like, I'm not going to say if I'm calling the plays or Phil, an offensive coordinator, John DeFilippo's calling the plays. I watched the game after the first quarter. I'm like, oh, this is Matt Nagy's offense. I'm not counting that last touchdown because that was literally as garbage time of a touchdown as you can get. We put up 3 points against a COVID-ridden, injury-filled Vikings defense. We ran on one drive where it looked like we were building steam. We got onto their side of the field. We ran the exact same play 3 times in a row, and it failed every single time. I don't care if you're not we've established Matt Nagy's not the offensive guru he claimed to be, but any sane person, I could bring a child on the field and they wouldn't run the same play that's not working 3 times in a row. What person's like, oh, this play isn't going to work? They're never going to guess that we're going to do it again. Oh, it didn't work twice. They'll never guess that we run it again, and it doesn't ever work. I'm getting a little ranty here. It kind of happens when I talk about Nagy.
It's okay.
The guy's an idiot. He should have been fired weeks ago. I have never seen a worse play caller in my entire life. He's bad. Fire him. He's ruining Justin Fields' development. Like, it is bad. But what I will say, our offensive coordinator is going to be back for this game. I think our offense will not look like a preschooler's offense, so I think I have more confidence. I also think that the Vikings are a better team than the Seahawks. And we're going to get our secondary back, who was all out for the Vikings game. And I have the Bears winning 27-21.
Interesting. So here's the fun fact. You literally said so much about last week's game that you literally never even mention the Seahawks. But listen, I want to give you a few breaks real quick. One is I totally understand you ranting about Matt Nagy because that was me with Bill O'Brien. Okay. And at one point, I'm pretty sure I told you last year my fantasy football name was Fire O'Brien, and then he got fired. So then, I changed the name. So, and also this another point that I forgot to make when we were talking about the Packers. You talked about the Packers defense. Maybe the slightest should have been the Packers special teams because the Bears did have a special teams touchdown on 2 times in a row. They did run it back quite a bit. That being said, I actually agree with you on this game. I have the Bears winning. I have the Bears beating the Seahawks. I am so disappointed. And don't clap yet. I'm not necessarily picking a Bears win here. I'm just picking a Seahawks loss here.
Let me have a Bears win here.
You're right. I'm sorry. Bears are going to win this game.
I deserve some kind of happiness. Okay, I've put up with this team for too long. Give me something to work with.
I got 20-17 Bears winning it. Seahawks have disappointed me so much this season. It's not just the Seahawks. Russell Wilson has disappointed me so much this season. You can blame it on the injury. You can blame it on whatever you want to. At the end of the day, you can say, hey, the Seahawks have terrible defense. They got to do this. They got to do that. They got to do all this stuff. They did hold the Rams to 20 points. But I don't remember the last time Seahawks scored more than 17 in a game. even with Russell Wilson as a quarterback. So if it's injury, sit out. Don't play if you can't put up points. If it's not injuries, then dude, you can blame the Seahawks organization all you want. But right now, you're playing like crap. And he is probably my top 10 favorite quarterbacks. I love the way he plays. Not the season. Absolute trash. I hate to say it that way, but right now he's playing like absolute trash. I have
I
more
think this
faith
is
in the Bears.
probably the worst season that Russell Wilson has
It
maybe ever
is.
had.
It is the worst
'Cause
season.
even
Statistically, win everything.
one thing I'll say about Russell Wilson is usually he has bad, like rough ends to seasons. Like he always starts off really hot, and you're
Hmm.
like, oh, he's in the MVP conversation, and then he slows down.
Yeah.
He didn't even start off hot this season. He was like kind of
Well, like
bad,
the first
mediocre.
three
Then he
games,
got
he did
hurt,
good, and then boom, yeah,
and then he
yeah,
came back
and
from injury and kind of been bad since.
yeah, and like offensively, or even if Seahawks defense sucked when Russell Wilson would have played, I would have been like, oh, they're still gonna win it because it's Wilson. He's gonna figure out a way to score, but right now he can't. So I got the Bears winning 20-17.
It feels so good to hear someone else pick the Bears to win the game for once.
We're gonna move on to another division game. It's gonna be the Broncos traveling all the way to I almost just said Oakland, all the way to Vegas to take on the Raiders. I actually have the Raiders winning this game. Week 6, Broncos played. They lost by 10 points, 34-24. Broncos are and Raiders, both of these teams are very up and down teams, still going back and forth. Um, and Raiders, I still believe they have a few COVID issues, but it's not as bad anymore. They are playing in Vegas. They are playing at home, and they are both of these teams are doing what they can to hopefully maybe make it to the wild card spot, which I don't think is going to end up happening. But I do have the Raiders winning this game 23-20. This was also one of those games where I really didn't know who to pick. It was a tough one, but it was also one that I just didn't care for. So 23-20, Raiders winning.
I want to add if the Raiders do somehow manage to make the playoffs, they need a 30 for 30 on this team like El Pronto. This has been one of the craziest seasons I've seen. I mean, like the team obviously isn't that great, but they just had so much happen in one season. It's kind of insane. But I will say, I I don't know. I don't ever know what to do when I pick the Raiders. Or like whenever it comes to Raiders picks, if I pick them to win, they lose. If I pick them to lose, they win. The only time that was not the case was last week. Last week I picked them to beat the Browns, who didn't have a quarterback, and they barely beat the Browns without a quarterback. In this case, I kind of have confidence in the Broncos to the point where I'm going to pick them to win this game. I think that their defense is done well. I think their offense, again, with Teddy Bridgewater, who I'm not 100% sure if he's going to play or not. I think he's in concussion protocols right now. But he's done a good job game managing. I think their run game has been pretty good. Their offensive line has held up nicely. With Raiders, I think they're inconsistent, and they're usually on the worst end of inconsistent. They've had I think they're like 2-6 in like the past 2 months. It's not pretty. I think that the Broncos at least deserve the playoff spot a little bit more, so I'm going to give them the edge here, 27-21.
Oh, yay! Look at that. 5
Disagreement.
disagreements.
I
Nice.
think it's probably the most disagreements we've ever had.
Yeah, it is. Jared, this is your chance, man. I'm literally throwing you all the bones here. Um, let's see if I can throw you another one. We got the Steelers traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. I don't know if you know this. Chiefs got a couple of key players out with COVID. And Big Ben, like I said last week, is giving it all he's got. By the way, that was one of the picks that you picked against, and I told you that they were going to win, and they actually won the game. And I was really proud of it. Although I have the Chiefs still winning this game, dude. I Chiefs are back to kind of being the Chiefs. I understand Kelsey's out, Hill's out. I'm pretty sure that's going to give them some trouble. The Steelers defense is going to give them some trouble. That's why I don't really have the most high scoring game. But at the end of the day, I do have Patrick Mahomes pulling off what Patrick Mahomes usually pulls off. 20-17 is what I got. It's Chiefs. I wouldn't be too surprised if somehow the Steelers actually pull this win off. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I'll be a little happy for the Steelers if they somehow pull this game off. So, but I still have the Chiefs winning, and this is one of those games where I kind of hope I'm wrong. So we'll see what happens. But
I'm
I'll let
going
you
to
go.
point this out. I think it's pretty crazy that you knew about the COVID stuff. I actually did not know about this Chiefs COVID problem. So I did
Ah,
not keep that into account with the
ah,
score. This is like the one time I usually am on top of my game when it
you
comes to like
are.
injuries and COVID. I did
You
not know
are
about this COVID stuff for the Chiefs
disappointed in you.
specifically.
Well,
I'm
also real
disappointed
quick,
in myself
I do want to point out, I don't know what their vaccination status is because this game is a Monday night game. So there is
because they
still
could do
time. If
that.
they're vaccinated players, they can go. I guess if they do, two negative tests or whatever the case is, they can come back and play. So we'll see what happens with that. But
Well, I'm going with my score. It's going to sound pretty bizarre if they don't play, but this is going into the account that they do play. Again, I'm not high on the Steelers. I think they're a bad team. They have won games to prove that they're not a bad team, but I'm still going to call them a bad team. I don't have confidence in them winning games. I think that the run
you don't think
game
there's a slight chance that a little bit of that is personal because of how the Bears game went?
that could be the case. Listen, I'm a big Najee Harris fan though, and I'm going to throw that out there. I have him on my fantasy team. Najee Harris averages like a yard a carry. Like they do not block for the man. Then when it comes to the passing game, I don't have any confidence in Big Ben. The one thing I will say is their defense. I still think they have a very good defense, but that offense is just so bad that I don't know. I don't have confidence in the Steelers. I have the Chiefs winning this one, and I have it in kind of a blowout. I have it 38-21. The
Fair
Chiefs
enough.
are being the Chiefs right now, and they're putting up points, and I think that they can keep putting up points regardless of the defense they play against.
You know what crossed my mind the other day? The Chiefs started off good, and then they started going on a slump, right? And then everyone was like, "Oh, the Chiefs are not being the Chiefs." And then, like the last two
Including us.
games, yeah, including us. No, I agree. And then in the last two games, they actually played really well, and we're all like, "Ooh, the Chiefs are looking really good again. They're back to being the Chiefs." What if this is a fluke? What if those two games were the Chiefs going back to being the Chiefs, and then they're done? Like the rest of the season, they're just gonna play like absolute crap.
Well, if it comes to that, then it comes to that, and we'll discuss it then. But I don't see that happening. I think it's weird. I'm not blaming Andy Reid whatsoever, but I think his play calling has been a little strange, and I'll just leave it
Yeah,
at that.
fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe Andrew Reid just threw away the playbooks and was just like, we got Mahomes. And then now he's like digging through the data. He's like, crap. I need to find this playbook. but but that's all we got. That's all our picks for the week. I got
You
you.
missed two games:
What two games?
Washington Cowboys, and then the Dolphins
Wait,
and
what are you
Saints.
talking about? Did I really?
Yes.
Oh, dude, I totally missed the last line of the games. Okay, so that means Steelers Chiefs is not even like a Monday game. It's actually like a Sunday afternoon game.
I don't
And
know if you
yeah,
want to just throw scores out there, but if you don't pick your scores, can I at least pick my scores?
yeah, I mean, I'm down. I'll pick scores right now. Let's go. I'll
Okay,
let you
I'll
pick
let
them
you go
first, though.
first then. Well, I was gonna
Okay.
let you pick so I don't persuade you.
So
And these are two
Washington
pretty easy games.
yeah, Washington
Go
and
ahead.
Cowboys. Last week, I mean, a few days ago when I was talking to Jose, I told him, I said, hey, I don't know Washington. Can they beat the Cowboys? They can. Are they going to? I don't think they are. Um, Cowboys beat them in Washington last week or 2 weeks ago. Washington is on a downward spiral. They just lost to the Eagles. Now they're officially out of the wild card position. And the Cowboys, I think this week, are going to put a nail to the coffin to the Washington team. And they're also going to put themselves in the playoffs by winning one more game. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think it's going to be pretty similar to last week. I'm going to go for 24-17 Cowboys winning this game.
I have 24-13, and I'm just agree
Okay,
with everything you just said. So
fair enough. um, we also have Dolphins traveling all the way to New Orleans to take on the Saints. I'm gonna keep the Dolphins win streak going. I understand that each team has a strength and a weakness. I just bit my own tongue. Each team has a strength and a weakness, and Brady's weakness is the Saints for some reason, but that doesn't mean that defense is gonna be the weakness to all the other teams out there. I do think the Dolphins are gonna end up scoring on this team. I think the Dolphins have a good coach, a good defense. Tua isn't playing that bad. Um, and they have something to fight for right now as we speak. So, and so does the Saints. But at the end of the day, the game's in Miami, and I'm gonna have to go with the Dolphins. I'm gonna go 27-24 Dolphins.
I don't know if you know this. I'm going back on my whole knowing about the injuries and COVID. So two key players of the Saints on the COVID list: Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian. That means the person in line to start this game is 4th round pick out of Notre Dame, Ian Book. Listen, he could be the next Tom Brady. Who knows? I don't have confidence in that.
You should say he could be the next Mike White.
How he could all Mike White, I think, was a 6th round pick. I mean, I guess Brady was too, but I don't know. I love Notre Dame. That's one of my favorite college football teams to watch, but I don't have confidence in him leading an NFL team without an NFL snap yet. So I'm going to have the Dolphins winning this one. I think that they're on a hot streak. They're fighting for that playoff spot, and they look really good. And I don't think the Saints can win with a rookie quarterback who's never played before. I could be proven wrong, but I don't see it happening.
Fair enough. I didn't miss any other games, right? Before I say that's all we got.
I think that's it. That's all I have. So
fair enough. Good. All right. Well, in that case, thank you so much for joining. Hopefully, I gave you some wiggle room to play some catch up this week, and we'll see what happens. But until then,
16-0. We're gonna bank on 16-0.
Good luck, buddy. Let's not get carried away here. Until then, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Jarrett, you have a fantastic night, and I will see you later.
Have a good one.